So, what to do with the spoils? Hey, here we are at the end of the fourth episode of the stories of Abram. There's been a war. People have been taken captive. They've been rescued. Abram's gotten back. The king of Sodom, who was one of the losing kings in the initial battle, has come out to meet him. Also, Melchizedek came out, priest of El Elyon, and blessed Abram in the name of God Most High. Now the king of Sodom steps forward, and this is how the story ends. Vayomer Melech Sodom el Avram. The king of Sodom said to Abram, "Ten li hanefesh." So let's look at 10. There is one word that we know that sort of sounds like that. That would be Natan, and that's what this is. We would have had tin tain, and the first radical, being a nun, would become dagesh forte in the tav, and then the prefix would be removed in order to make the imperative form. So, give me hanefesh seems to be a reference to the people that Abram has brought back that had been previously captured by the other kings. A little bit odd for it to be singular, but we seem to have a distinction between the living and the stuff, the inanimate, because the next line is v'harakush kachlak. So give me the living, the people, but the paraphernalia, all the stuff, kachlak. So let's start with kak. Like tain, it's lost the first radical. This is from lakak. It's also the imperative. So give me this, you take that. And then what about lak? At the end we have kaf. That's normally the second feminine singular pronominal suffix. Is the king of Sodom giving some subtle insult to Abram, calling him a woman? No, the pausal form of the 2ms pronominal suffix is ak rather than ka. So it seems like the king of Sodom is looking at the results here. I mean, he lost the battle. Abram went after the victorious kings, and he liberated Lot and liberated the people, got all the stuff back too and brought them. And the king of Sodom is like, just give me the people, you keep the stuff. That would be fair. Or maybe he's just making a show of it because it's the polite thing to do. Give me the living, but take the stuff for yourself. But Abram is going to decline that. Vayomer Avram el Melech Sodom. Abram said to the king of Sodom, Harimoti yadi el Adonai el Elyon. So let's look at Harimoti. What's at the end? Yeah, we see T from Anoki. So that's a 1CS perfect verb ending. And at the beginning, we've got a hey, and it's over a composite shava. So we've got a case where the accent is farther down, and so the prefix is now in problem position. It's in propretonic position, so it's having its vowel reduced to a shava, but because it's guttural, it's a composite shava. And the root here is reem, or actually, the root here is room, to be high. And then we've got this connecting O vowel between the third radical and the ending. And if this were Akkadian class, we would talk about what that might be related to. But since this is Hebrew class, we're just going to say, oh, that just sort of is pulled out of thin air in order to help the pronunciation of these weak roots. We have a Hifil perfect 1CS from room. So if room in the cal is stative to be high, then the hifil here is that you're going to make something be high, and that thing is yadi, which is my hand. So I have raised my hand to Adonai, God Most High, El Elyon. And we could look at that two ways. We could look at it as a past reference. I have previously sworn an oath to the Lord. Or it could even be a performative perfect, where the act of doing it sort of makes it happen. And so in that case, we could translate, I hereby swear. And so it would be an oath taken in the moment. but one way or the other, it's represented by this perfect verb, and it is this oath that Abraham has taken or takes now. I have lifted my hand, metonymy, the action to represent the thing that is going on when you raise your hand before a deity. I sworn an oath. I have lifted my hand to the Lord God Most High, the creator of heaven and earth. And then the way these formulas work is sort of like it's the next thing is implied, like, may God take my life if I do any of the following. And that volitional phrase, may this nasty stuff happen to me, is often omitted. And then we just see the if part. May the nasty stuff happen if blah, blah, blah. Since that part's omitted, we end up translating the im usually as if it were a negative in order for it to work in English idiom. So we're going to translate like no or not for this im and for the next im. And he doesn't have a verb in this first line, and we probably don't know these nouns. We don't know this vocabulary very well, so I'll fill you in on that. When we look at michut, this is min, so not anything from a thread, va'ad, right? Min and ad, from and unto sarok na'al. So that's like the strap of a sandal. So he's identifying small things that he is not going to take. So not a thread, not the strap of a sandal, not I will take, right? May the bad things happen to me if I take, right? Which is hard to do in English without the may the bad things happen line. So we just translate it as I will not take from anything which is belonging to you. I won't take any of your stuff, not even little stuff. Velo tomar, and you'll notice that we are no longer first person, right? So here we had aleph for 1CS, just like here we had T for 1CS, and we have Tomar, and the Tav is 2MS. He's talking to the king of Sodom, so that you will not say, or you will not think, you will not say or think what? Ani ha'asharti et Avram. So ani, I, and when we look at ha'asharti, T at the end from Anoki, so, makes sense, 1CS. At the beginning, we have prefix hey, that's the hifils hey with an E-class vowel. So we've got a hifil perfect 1CS, and the root there is ayin shin resh. You might not now know the noun osher, but osher is the noun wealth. And this is like a denominative, functions basically the same way as a factative. So the condition of wealthy being made to happen to the direct object here. I made Abram rich. So the credit for Abram's wealth is supposed to stay with the Lord God Most High, and the king of Sodom here is neither going to be able to take credit nor to nurse a grudge against Abram having a whole bunch of stuff that used to belong to his people. So it's the surface structure here is for the king of Sodom to make a generous and thankful offer to Abram. You keep the stuff, just want the people. I'm all about the people. And then Abram to respond by saying, oh, it's fine. You keep the people and you keep all the stuff, and things are resolved the way that is going to make the most people the most happy. Abram moves on to conclude, because he wasn't the only one who went. And so even though he's taken this oath for himself, he's not going to speak for others. He's going to leave room for them to have some compensation themselves. So first he says, biladai, and often when we see B and L together in Hebrew, it's a negation, and we've got the preposition ad in there, and then a 1CS pronominal suffix, the yod at the end. So not unto me, better English, nothing for me. then Rak asher akalu han'arim. So only what akalu, right? U at the end is a plural verb thing, and the aleph R1 has kamate, so a kal perfect, third common plural, the subject of which is the na'arim. See, they've eaten stuff, right? Can't give that back. So only what the na'arim have eaten, right? So that he's taking or keeping, as it were. Ne'arim, of course, a little bit tough to translate. We might say the young men, but a na'ar can be a child, or it can be a very grown adult with grown children. A na'ar can be an apprentice. Lots of different things. Probably too restrictive to think that this is the officers. It's got to be a reference to all the people. They don't necessarily have to have been young. So it's a little tough to bring over into English. So maybe we'll say young men. Except whatever the young men have eaten. And then he says, v'chelek ha'anishim, and the portion. Previously we had Abram and his servants, they split up. I think that was also from the root halak. So here it's a noun, the portion or the share of the men. Which men? Asher halaku iti, who went with me, right? What is this? Halaku. Kal, perfect, third common plural from halak. As to the share of the men who went with me, and then he names them, Aner, Eshkol, Umamre. And all of that is just to set the topic. And here's the sentence that he's actually going to say. Haim yechachu chelkam. So they, yechachu, right? Kof and chet. Kof and chet's like almost always lakak. The lamed tried to become a dagesh forte in the kof, but it's over vocal shavah, so it disappeared entirely. They will take their share, or they will take their portion. So Abram speaking up in a generous manner at the end of this and declining all the stuff seemingly offered by the king of Sodom. He's not using his position to try and deprive the other people of what they might reasonably have, and so he concludes that by deferring. But we have ended this story of great peril with a rescue and a blessing from El Elyon and praise to El Elyon, and making sure that El Elyon, that Adonai, gets all of the credit and all of the glory, and that Abram is not trying to keep it for himself. Something that is well worth our own consideration whenever we have successes, because all good things come from God and we can do nothing without him.